Today we're going to talk about ball placement, specifically balls at the feet, and why that is so important. Hey everybody, my name's Ryan Perry. I'm a struggling 3-0 pickleball player. I'm here with Gary Heinlein, who's not only a coach, but he's a 4-0 rated duper player. So welcome and thank you for joining us today.
I'm glad to be here.
All right, fabulous. So we've been talking about strategy, and today in this video I want to talk specifically about ball placement at the feet. So first of all, what is that? And then the follow-up question is going to be, why is it a good thing to learn?
Okay. Actually, I'm going to reverse that on you and say, Why is it a good thing to learn? Because it's the most important thing in pickleball.
Okay.
It's actually every shot that you do, you want to place it at your opponent's feet. You take anything deep. Your serve wants to be deep, which means heading towards their feet. The return, if you're returning serve, you want to hit it deep at their feet to keep them back. Your drop shots are drops just into the net at their feet. Okay, if they're coming in, especially if they're coming in, they're no man's land, and you get a ball high, you want to put it at their feet because that's the hardest ball to hit is at your feet. And so if you just figure every shot will be at their feet, because when you go into a dinking game, you say, well, what about a dinking game? What are you doing? You're dinking it over the net. And like I say, you can just barely have that lift dink that just drops just over the net, and they have to step in on it. So, I mean, they're coming in and it's at their feet. Or you can do a push dink where you're pushing it deeper and at their feet, because then they have to make a decision. What am I going to do with that ball?
Right. Am I going to get it? Am I going to reach in and get it out of the air?
Right.
Or do I have to step back
and get it because it's close to their feet? So, again, even dinks are at the person's feet. Right. I like what Daniel Moore, he was a national, so many times national champion, and then his dad, Scott Moore, is one of the top, most decorated senior pro. Well, in their book, they talk about that, and he actually redefines dink as the USA Pickleball describes it as just a ball over the net dropping into the kitchen, but he says it's a ball over the net that drops at your opponent's feet. You know, they may be further back, so you're still going to try to drop it at their feet. You know, and like I say, if you get a ball high, then the whole key is to hit it down. Right. Don't hit it just right at their body. Try to hit it at their feet, because that's the hardest shot to handle. Like I said, they don't know if it's going to be right in front of them. It's going to be over to the right or over to the left, and also that's
and let's talk about angles, right? Because if the ball is waist level or high, it's really easy to swing at it,
right?
Okay, and I can get the ball out. So, and if it's waist high, as an example, or we should say net high or even higher, I have a good line of sight to be able to drive the ball over the net. Something that's low at my feet, I only have one way of driving that ball. It has to go up, which now kind of puts me in a defensive position, because the likelihood of getting that ball way up, you're not going to necessarily get a drop into the kitchen per se, especially if it was hit with some force. More than likely, you're going to pop it up, and now the other person's got
Really, that's the key right there. When a ball is low and at your feet, you have to hit up, and that means a non-attackable ball. Right. That's why they say hit whatever you hit. Try to make it unattackable. So at the net, or at the kitchen line, it's a dink. So it can be, they have to hit up to hit it back. If they're charging in no man's land or transition zone, they have to. It's at their feet. They have to hit up.
Right.
You know, so it's still going to come up, and it offers the opportunity for a pop up to you to put the ball away, because then you're going to put it back harder. A lot of times people go for winners too early. You know, you've got to set up your shot. So you put a slower one to their feet, and then they pop it up. Then you're going to slam the ball still low. When I say at their feet, I mean it's low. So you talked about angles. You know, a lot of times if you hit it, you get good players that are getting it back. You know, but if you can move it just a little bit, then they have to step over to get to that ball. Right. And that movement forces a non-forced error, as they call it.
Okay. So as a coach, what's one of the ways that you teach people how to work on that from an offensive point of view? What's something that people can do?
Probably the biggest thing is just mentally be thinking, my shots got to go back to their feet, because what do we do when we get into the play, especially like we talked about in another video about bangers that are hitting hard. Well, our reaction is hit back hard at them, you know. But even that, a banger, if you're at the kitchen line and they're back and they're banging at you, basically the biggest thing to do is just take that paddle and push it back at their feet. Because even if they take a step in and you push it back at their feet fairly hard, that's harder to handle, but they're going to come down and their mindset is to hit it hard.
Right.
So they're going to come low and hit up on it, and like you said, it's just going to sail out. So like I say, again, getting at the feet. So you're thinking, your mindset, instead of just trying to hit the ball hard, is try to get it down on their feet.
Yeah.
They always say in a shootout, when it's going back and forth, first person who gets the ball down usually going to win that point or whatever.
Yeah. So I think from a drill point of view, having somebody play the back line and then having your partner up at the kitchen line hitting them at your feet is a great drill. And then ideally the person who's in the back tries to work their way up to the kitchen is a fun drill that I enjoy doing on both ends. I like, because it's good ball placement. If I'm at the kitchen, I'm trying to hit that back line, and as they work their way forward, I'm trying to get it at their feet consistently. And then defensively, the player who's back has got to work on those low shots and trying to get them, just over into the kitchen so that I can't add more power to my drives.
That's a good example right there, that drill, that basically they're back, so they're doing a drop shot back at your feet behind the net, okay? And then you're taking the ball, because it's low, you're lifting it up, and usually you want to put some topspin on it and take it over the net, but deep at their feet. You can't really get a hard shot unless it gets up high. But if you're taking it low, you can still lift it up over the net and put it deep on them to try to keep them back. But there's the strategy. Here's both sides doing the same thing, trying to drop it at feet. They're trying to get forward, and you're trying to keep them back. And so that's really the strategy of pickleball, is keep it at their feet.
Keep it at their feet. All righty, folks. If you didn't hear it somewhere else, you just heard it here. Keep it at their feet. We do want to thank our sponsor, DT Footwear, for sponsoring this video, and, of course, the shoes that both you and I wear on the court.
Yeah, one of the best shoes out there for pickleball or just for everyday comfort.
Yeah, for sure. If you got any questions, comments, thoughts, feelings, emotions, something you'd like to share, feel free to do that in the comments below. Thank you.